What if a criminal mastermind could hold an entire country hostage, not for $1 billion ransom, but for the sheer thrill of chaos? In the mid-1980s, Japan was gripped by a faceless entity that outsmarted police at every turn, threatened to poison children, and then vanished without a trace, leaving a legacy of fear that haunts the nation to this day. This is the story of the monster with 21 faces. The nightmare began on the night of March 18, 1984. Two armed, masked men broke into the home of Katsuhisa Ezaki, the president of the massive candy corporation, Glico. They tied up his wife and daughter before finding Ezaki himself in the bathroom with his other children. The CEO was dragged from his home naked and terrified and taken to a desolate warehouse. The demand came swiftly, 1 billion yen and 100 kilograms of gold bullion. But just as the company prepared to pay, the unthinkable happened. 3 days into his captivity, Ezaki managed to escape. You would think the story ended there, but for the criminals, it was just the beginning. Their plans for a massive payday were ruined. But instead of disappearing, they got angry. A few weeks later, cars at Glico's headquarters were mysteriously set on fire. Then, a plastic jug filled with hydrochloric acid was found in a company building. The kidnappers were sending a message. This was far from over. Soon after, letters arrived at news agencies and police stations, filled with taunts and threats. For the first time, the group gave itself a name, one lifted from a famous Japanese detective novel, The Monster with 21 Faces. The monster's next move plunged the entire country into panic. It sent a letter declaring that it had laced Glico candies with potassium cyanide and distributed them in stores across Japan. Suddenly, every parent in the nation was terrified. Glico was forced to pull all of its products from shelves, a move that cost the company millions and sent its stock price crashing. The monster reveled in the chaos, sending mocking letters to the police. One read, "You seem to be at a loss, so why not let us help you?" They gave clues about the typewriter they used and where they got their materials, but the police were always one step behind. Investigators scrambled to catch the culprits, leading to several high stakes, undercover ransom drops that all went wrong. During one attempt, an officer disguised as an employee was ordered to toss 50 million yen from a moving train. He noticed a suspicious man watching him, a large man with permed hair and eyes described as being like those of a fox. This fox-eyed man shadowed the officer from train to train before vanishing into the crowd. Police would spot him again at another drop, but he escaped once more, this time leaving behind a stolen car equipped with a police radio scanner he'd been using to monitor their every move. Having tormented Glico, the monster announced it was moving on to other food companies, including Morinaga and House Food Corporation. In October 1984, the group sent its most chilling letters yet, addressed to the moms of the nation. The monster claimed it had placed 21 packages of cyanide-laced Morinaga candy in stores from Tokyo to Hakata. A frantic search began, and authorities eventually found all 21 poison packages, each marked with a label that read, "Danger, contains toxins." No one was harmed, but the psychological terror was immense. The pressure on the police was unbearable. For 17 months, they had been publicly humiliated by the monster. The weight of this failure fell heavily on Superintendent Yamamoto of the Shiga Prefecture Police. In August 1985, he walked into his backyard, doused himself in gasoline, and took his own life. Just 5 days later, the monster sent its final letter. It called Yamamoto's act stupid, but said he died like a man. The letter continued, "We decided to forget about torturing food-making companies. It's fun to lead a bad man's life. Monster with 21 faces." After that, the monster with 21 faces went silent. The letters stopped. The threats ended. They simply vanished. The statute of limitations for the kidnapping ran out in 1995, and for the poisonings in 2000. The case is officially closed and remains one of Japan's biggest unsolved mysteries. Over 1 million police officers worked the case, investigating 12,000 suspects, but no one was ever charged. Who was the monster? Theories range from a disgruntled employee to a sophisticated stock manipulation scheme or even a Yakuza crime syndicate, but no one knows for sure. The monster with 21 faces played its game, won, and then disappeared into legend, leaving an entire nation to wonder who was behind the mask.